Holy smokes.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And it shows here that that did not go live. Hold on. Let's try this again. Son of a gun.
The thing on top does say live.
That's on mine too.
Yeah.
Has trouble connecting. Please check your internet connection. So it says live for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it doesn't say live for me. So I guess we are live, but maybe I'm not live. I don't know. Can you see me okay?
I
I
can see you
see.
fine.
And you can hear
You're
me
good.
okay?
Yeah,
I hear
man.
you.
All
Okay.
right. Welcome to the PodBrother Show. Gentlemen, we are here at the Arc Theater in North Hollywood, 5708 Lancashire Boulevard. And with me today, I have a couple of gentlemen that we're just going to do a little industry chop up right now about what's happening, what's up, what's not. Talk film, TV, celebrity, music. I don't know. Whatever we feel like talking about right now,
All right.
we're just gonna have some fun. So today with us, I have Herb Morris. Herb Morris is a DP of the Arc Theater. He's the guy who videotapes and captures all the plays, comedies, and podcasts. Herb, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, so far so good. So what's happening?
I got Rick Johnson here, all the way from America. And he is one of my really, really good friends. We go way back. We worked on film projects, music videos, all kinds of fun stuff. Rick, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing?
I am doing excellent day. I got a couple things happening right now between my drive-ins, my podcast, and my comedy. I got the trifecta hat trick going, and really
Nice.
good, man. Things are happening.
Beautiful.
So let's start with a topic we want to go into, and then we'll circle back around and go into it. So, Herb, what's a topic that you want to get off your chest on this show, and then we'll come back to you on that. What's a topic you want to go into tonight?
Mm, I don't. You know. Let me. I don't know
Well,
what.
how about Arc Theater stuff? Because you know quite a few things about the Arc Theater, so maybe I can tap into you on some Arc Theater stuff. How's that?
Okay. That so far there'll be comedy shows. I guess a few times a week.
All right, we'll come back to you. So just get your thoughts together, and we'll come back to you. Rick,
Yeah.
what rabbit hole you want to dive in a little bit tonight?
I see the world of AI taking
AI, that's a
over.
good one. That's a good one. I want to jump into that one as
Yep.
well. Um, I'm going to jump into the world of stand-up comedy,
All right.
and where it was, where we are now, and where it's going. So, what should we dive into first? What do you want to do first? You want to get the arc stuff out of the way? Get Herb. You want to do the first dance?
Okay. What we're having, I guess, maybe over the next few weeks, is that the Arc Theater is going to be having comedy shows. I don't know on what days, but it seems to be Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I'm doing a comedy show tomorrow night right here, 8 o'clock. I'm doing
Oh yeah, that
Judy
Saturday.
Chinchado Neeson's show. I'm actually going to be headlining that show. So, and you're going to be videotaping it, from what
Yeah,
I
I'll be
understand.
there with the video, with the video cam and that, and so there'll be a video. You
Try to
got
get
it.
my best side. All my sides are my best side.
Yeah.
So we got comedy shows. We just had a run with Eavesdropper. Tell us what that's about, Herb. What's your take on Eavesdropper?
Eavesdropper is a pretty good play. It's a comedy, and it's kind of a point of view thing where it's a comedy, but it goes very dark. And I really don't want to tell you too much about it.
You don't want to be a spoiler.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we've got the podcast series going, which is what I'm doing tonight. What's your favorite podcast here at the Arc Theater?
Mm, I like the ones where you put together some of
The
your.
PodBrother show. Very good answer, Herb. Very.
No, but on the PodBrother show, I like when you bring together a lot of your, your old time comedy partners, and and you just sort of chop it up, and that can get wonderful.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do. Just get these guys on the mic and just cut them loose and just sit back and just
Yeah.
watch the chaos ensue. Yeah,
Nice.
that's pretty fun. Cool, man. Well, there's some cool and exciting things coming down the pipe for the Arc Cyber Theater, and I'm kind of anxious to see what's going to happen with it, where it's going to go. I'm launching my own internet radio show with some old time themes with some new plot characters and props. So that should be an interesting show. It's going to have that kind of old 30 radios feel, but it's going to have like modern gadgets and modern slang and modern culture in it, but it's going to be done in an old style, old timey type of theme. So Maria Georgasian is going to help me write that, and I'm looking forward to doing that. That's going to be the PNN Old Time Radio. It's the PNN Academy Internet Radio Show is what that's called.
Got the George and Gracie and the Ozzy and Harriet and the Bickersons and
same
the whole
thing,
crew.
like Dick Tracy style, the Rascals, Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, kind of that old time, style of radio. We're gonna write some really cool, funny stuff, and then we're gonna, have the actors on mics with their scripts, and we're gonna have a Foley guy with sound, or maybe me on sound effects, and it should be fun. Yeah,
that'll work.
So Rick, AI, which stands for ass intelligence. What does AI stand for those of you?
It stands for a lot of stuff, but we're talking about typically artificial intelligence, autonomous interference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there can be any number of things, but basically we're talking about the robotization of what's happening in the human world. And basically it's alien invasion will be another real good word for that one. Because what's happening is right before our eyes, we're becoming automated.
Yeah.
And everything we're doing is becoming automated, and people are being replaced at a rate faster than anyone would imagine. And to me, that's a real fascinating thing.
What do you think the fix is on that? Because I have a theory, and Herb, I'm going to put this question out to you as well. Because AI is snatching up jobs by the hundreds of thousands, and the capitalists are hoarding and keeping, the money and the profits from that. What do you think we should do about it? Like, because that's not a sustainable society where no one's working and making money because AI has all the jobs, and then the rich is just hoarding and storing the money. I mean, it's currency. It's supposed to flow from hand to hand, top to bottom, bottom to top. That's what keeps everything moving. But the second you shut that down, then we could have a revolution. What do you think would be a fix for AI in keeping our economy flowing for those who loses their jobs to AI? Because I have a theory. Rick, oh, okay, Herb, you go first. What's
okay? I have some thoughts on that. Firstly, as far as the very rich, and there's going to be resistance to this. The thing that you do about the very rich is you raise taxes a lot, and then how do you avoid the taxes? You do what Eisenhower did. You basically avoid them by being able to deduct as you reinvest. And he turned the 50s into just about the most prosperous time in American history, at least as far as white people were concerned. They were excluding black people, but it still made an example. And the way it worked was your maximum marginal tax rate was 93%. And what he was doing was he was paying for World War II and the Korean War, and he did too. And then he also turned around and built the highway system and that sort of thing. And then all the way from I think it was 53 when they kicked the taxes up, and it ended up with a lot of very rich Republicans hating his guts. But and by the way, Ronnie Reagan was one of them. He never did figure out reinvestment. And
so your
then the
your
second
solution is tax the rich and then reinvest it. And then what's the second thing?
And then the second thing, as far as artificial intelligence, this isn't really where you need to worry about it yet. They can't even, they're not doing very well with self-driving cars. It isn't actually very autonomous. It just seems that way, like this chat bot thing on, what is it? Is that Google that's doing that, or I can't remember
Yes.
now? Okay. Yeah. The thing is very disturbing, but it's not, it's not autonomous or anything. It just goes off in whatever direction. It's kind of a spinning wheel.
Well, it's getting better, but or worse, depends on how you look at it.
But it's, I don't think that it's just, it's too soon. What we have to worry about is at the point where quantum computing really gets online, and this will be a point where, and it'll also be the point where where each generation of artificial intelligence writes the software for the next one, and so on and so on. So we're talking here, 50, 75 years down the road, I'll be dead. So, I'm not worried about this. But what's going to happen? They're going to reach a point.
Aging out is a solution. Aging out is a solution, sure.
But they're reaching a point where they're going to get to a point where these things, each writing for the next, where the thing becomes sentient. And the thing is, you don't know where it's going to go from there, except I've got a funny feeling that all the augmented human beings and everything that's going to go with this are, they're not going to figure it out, but they're going to be pets. And so it's, we will reach that point. We're not going to lose autonomy. We're just going to become pets.
So,
and the things ruling the world.
What do you think is the answer?
The things.
Thanks, Herb. So, Rick. So, what do you think would be the answer? I mean, Herb kind of laid out, a 50-year plan of where this, possibly could go, where AI is writing AI for generations to come. What do you think your fix with trying to stimulate the economy with non-working people because their jobs have been replaced with AI, and we now have a society of non-working people and a highly automated, autonomous system of productivity, and the people who own all that stuff are the ones that are getting all the money, and everybody else is kind of like out of luck. What's your take?
I think it's a lot faster than what Herb's thinking. I think before 1930, or 1930, 2030 rolls around, you're going to see communications almost entirely facilitated by AI, especially globally, because these other guys out there, they don't really care about America, and America is going to lose its grip. And there's not really any option there. We've seen it. India's growing faster and faster and faster. And of course, every one of us that get on the phone and make a call for a customer service, you're not talking to an American most of the time. I'd say 1 out of 10, I speak to an American. Otherwise, I'm speaking to somebody usually in the Philippines, India, Indonesia, uh, pretty much everywhere but China, Russia, and North Korea,
Yeah.
and not Europe so much. But what's happening is, you mean like on my end over here, the things that I'm doing, I'm seeing the AI taking over so many aspects of what I could never imagine, and it's happening really, really quickly. And I don't mean just a machine that's autonomous or sentient or otherwise. It's a technology that allows things to progress in a way that human beings aren't necessarily as creatively important as they were before. That's what I'm seeing. And I see a lot of people that have a AI aided customer service situation where they've got screens in front of them and all they have to do is just touch something cued on something else, and the thing kind of takes over and they just read the script. And that's something that actually my company created that back in the 90s, but it didn't work anywhere near like this stuff does now. But and I think as far as working goes, I think people just aren't going to work, and that was predicted. I forget the name of the book, but there's a book out there where it said that sometime right around now, a good portion of the country that used to work isn't going to be working anymore. There's simply not going to be any jobs. So there's two remedies for this. The first remedy is what's happening in Russia, Japan, and China, and that is that people are being thrown away. When they die by less of a population. It's happening all over the world. In fact, in China, they're saying before the end of this decade, China will be virtually bankrupt because they're losing 30% of their working class, and their economy can't handle that. So, that's all part of the automation. So, yeah, machines are going to be automated clearly. Autonomous cars, well, eventually, but not yet.
Yeah.
But communications, that's the thing that, and customer service, banking, uh, it's pretty frightening, but that's just the way it's going to be. And a lot of young people just anticipate that they're never going to own a home. Those days have passed, and it's kind of sad, but that's what it is. So their expectations are a lot smaller, and people are becoming ensconced with the idea of having a tiny this, tiny that. Everything's shrinking down a little bit, and people are accepting it. And I know we're not, but my kids and their friends are all downsizing. They're simplifying and they're kind of cleaning out the closets and just getting smaller and smaller with this, as far as what surrounds them. So I don't see any way around it. And the scales of the economy are gonna demand that it continues, unfortunately, because the rich are going to love the money, and the poor, well, too bad. They're just not going to participate.
So if it continues to go that way, I mean, what happens when the majority of America is poor, all the jobs are with AI, and the rich people only have the money? Do you think that's going to, maybe, disrupt the hierarchy, or is there going to be a revolution? Are people going to be in the streets?
No, they're going to be
Are
drugged
rich
out.
people going to have to
Uh,
go underground? Like, what do you think? What do you think will happen?
I think there's going to be a lot more drugs, and I think that's going to be a big part of it. And you know, you, how else are they going to do it? I just came from a state where every drug is legal, all drugs. That's the one just north of us. And
Oh,
meaning that
or
when I say legal, yeah, yeah. I mean it's not that they're legal. Hey, look at this, but they don't prosecute it. And we're
yeah,
talking about the hard drugs, the real stuff.
yeah,
So, and what they're doing there with homeless and everyone else is just give them drugs and they shut up. It's amazing how well they comply when they're not able to stand up and eat.
yeah.
So, and that's a system that works, and it's worked in other countries, and they're just going to do it here you know, until they don't
There,
have to.
you
Wow.
know, there is the kind of solution in the short term, like I said, was just, tax and then do stuff. You know, a if they raise taxes, find other, public projects. One of the problems is that we've had the super rich fight various kinds of public projects. The Koch brothers have an actual, what would you call it? A foundation that does nothing except, uh, fight in the courts, and over time they put billions into this. They fight in the courts against any what do you call it, public transportation project in any cities and towns around the country, and in fact in Canada and Mexico too.
Well, yeah,
And
I see
they
all that, and
keep
yeah.
more, they want us using more gasoline and fuel.
Well, don't
And,
forget that those are the guys that put the politicians in office. So the odds
yeah,
of them pushing taxes up to the British rates, things like that, that's just not going to happen
it,
because they're not going to allow those guys in office. They're
yeah,
gonna they're
it's
not going to
not
pay for them.
an awful lot of
Well, one
people.
of the things that I think would be a solution for this is, if all the money is being, um, uh, hoarded because of AI, I think there should be, like Herb says, a tax, but maybe a specific tax on all AI GPA.
If the
And
AI people are the ones creating the jobs, creating the economy, they're not going to allow the politicians to sit in those chairs and even make those laws. They'll just not support them, and they'll be
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, I mean,
would say,
whether it happens or not is another thing. That's a whole nother debate, another
yeah,
conversation. I'm
as for
just
the
saying, like, if you have a society that you still have to, they still need to touch money. They still need to touch the resource. They still need to have that currency in circulation just to keep the society and the economy flowing. Just because the AI are doing most of the jobs doesn't mean that the people still shouldn't circulate the currency. And I think there should be like an AI society fund that goes to everybody who's a member of the sovereign, and it's like a tax, but the tax goes back into the people so that they could spend it on the things in the economy to keep it going, and that money is not hoarded by super wealthy people.
you see,
Well,
the thing about hoarding the money is that if they get it, if that goes for too long, you'll either end up with something resembling the Russian Revolution, or you'll turn around and you'll end up with with fascism, and you end up with something like like Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler. That's where he supported his population, but at the same time, the super rich uh, put him in because they thought they could control him, and of course, he got out of their control, and he led Germany straight into hell. And the
yep.
thing is, when you look at that, kind of read 1984, and that ends up where there's basically three giant countries in the world. Each one of them is fascist, and each one of them, will two of them will be war, while one of them will be, allied with one or the other, and it just keeps changing places.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's kind of a mess. And also AI is leading actually ultimately in another direction. And when if and when it becomes sentient, one of the things that's going to happen is that the world population is getting bigger and bigger. And the thing that'll save us is to basically get off the earth, build that, build on, at the equator,
A ladder to Mars, a ladder to the moon, maybe.
a ladder to a rock that's moored right around geosynchronous orbit, plus a little further to put tension on the rope.
I like how you think, Herb. That's a great solution. A tethered rock from the earth, and then we can just get away from it all. Okay, Andy Libby just joined us. How you doing, Andy? Are you there? Can you hear us? Can you see us? Andy Libby's on the tables. Can you hear us? Andy, are you there?
It says paused by, I don't know what that is. There, I got rid of that. He was paused on my screen for some reason.
Can you guys all see Andy's block?
I see his
black thing. I just see a block there, an empty. Yeah.
Okay, maybe he stepped off for a second, waiting for me to let him in.
Yeah, he's still muted. Oh, there. I saw a flicker of light.
Okay, Andy, are you there?
Andy?
He's been taken over by the robots.
There,
got him.
I saw.
I'm here. I had the mute on. Sorry.
Okay. So we've been chopping it up with 3 topics, and we all got a chance to kind of air out some ideals on it. So you get to
It gave me a lot to think about. I'm kind of here in the dark. I thought I'm too ugly to be on the show, but then I saw you 3, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. What I'm interested about is, in the meantime, before the robots take over and AI becomes sentient, is how the interaction with it has already changed our behaviors. You look at mating and behaviors that long before COVID, it really changed the way that people connect and meet and form relationships, or even if they're temporary sexual liaisons. And it's totally changed. We become consumers of human beings. And I think the main force, like Herb is talking about, like with the Koch brothers, is that consumerism is kind of their ideal goal. And he who consumes the most, or he who sells the most to consumers, wins. But it's also weird. I noticed that when we were streaming at the Arc Theater, Father Jamie was doing a Latin Catholic Mass every Sunday. And you know who the largest group of people to tune in were? Jewish people who were curious, who had never seen maybe a Mass of any kind, and certainly not a traditional one in Latin with all the vestments and glitter and all that. And it gives people, on one hand, technology gives people the opportunity to explore things that they wouldn't have done even 5 or 10 years ago. But then it also, while we're exploring, it also makes us vulnerable to being exploited by these different apps and the different streaming services and what have you. So my question is not so much is the not too distant future with technology, but how has technology already changed our humanity from what it was from, say, the early, when the internet first came into our lives in the 80s and 90s. Your thoughts?
What I see a situation where just dealing with almost any kind of communications, you can't speak to a human, at least for a while, and you're basically pushing buttons and finally end up saying representative about 20 times, and finally somebody might actually come on and help you. And it doesn't matter what it is. You could be calling for AAA, or you could be calling for any other number of services. I just had a modem that I had to take back. There was a modem that we had here that didn't work in this part of California.
Who told you it didn't work? Maybe it didn't want to work. Maybe it was tired of its human master telling it what to do.
That's probably what it was. But what pissed me off is that I had the thing in Oregon, I brought the thing down here, and then it didn't work. And I called them. They said, no, we don't support that technology here because there's not enough people to support it. So go take it back. So I ended up taking it back. But just to get to that point, though, was probably about 20 minutes of being on hold, talking to robots. And that was just part of the joy that has now become our daily life.
So which do you prefer, robots or people from India or Philippines or Pakistan or?
No, I'm just talking about the automated voice on the phone. It tells you
I agree
one
with
for this,
you.
one for that. And,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I play a game online called Looney Tunes World of Mayhem, which is basically the Warner Brothers cartoons characters in a character-driven battle game. And the health department used to be pretty good. Now it's turned into all robot stuff, and whatever problems you report, they don't fix them. They used to give you compensation or rewards or something like that, and now you just get nothing.
wow. Well, yeah, that's where we're heading. Well, no, we're not heading. We're already there.
So Andy, while we have you, tell us a little bit about what's going on with the ARC Theater, what you're excited about, what we need to look for, what your vision is. Give us an idea of what we can expect to see from what's happening. I mean, obviously, stuff that you actually can talk about.
Well,
I know there's some
right
stuff
now I'm eating a
NDA
Reese's peanut butter cup, which I forgot I hid in the fridge, and so I'm very excited about that. That's about as far as I can think in the future. No, well, it's ironically, part of that is, what we've been talking about is cyber theater. That my understanding is theater attendance in LA is about 40% to 43% of what it was prior to the pandemic. People are going back to the movie theaters to some degree, but they're not going back to playhouses as much as they were. And that was already in the decline for several years, that the theater attendance was down.
Well, we've got these big screen TVs now that basically have changed the entire thing, and they're inexpensive. You can get a 65-inch 4K TV now for under $500.
Yep.
That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew when I watched when I bought Disney Plus and watched Hamilton streaming in my home for the first time for $12 instead of paying $300 a ticket. I knew this was a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing to have these big screen TVs and surround sound or whatever you want. I mean, why would you want to go to the theater and listen to some guy, choke on popcorn and fart behind you, for 2 hours while you're trying to do anything? And it can be rather frustrating. And that's the other thing we've noticed too. We have
I'm choking on popcorn right now. It's Orville Redenbacher's popcorn.
Perfect.
I now had 2 product placements. I'm expecting a big case of Reese's and a big case of popcorn to arrive by Amazon any minute.
There you go. There you go.
And why wouldn't you want to use Amazon? It's so convenient and easy.
I don't use anything except Amazon. They bring me everything. They bring our food. They bring our toilet paper. They bring our water.
That's right.
Basically everything but our air. It's astonishing, and we don't have to pay for shipping. And I'll just go ahead. I'll take the
That's right. Fine foods like Justin's naturally delicious organic peanut butter, for example.
There you go. Half the salt. Perfect.
Yeah.
They have it all. All right, so guys, let's go around a circle in closing with some final thoughts. Herb, what's your final thought for tonight? It can be anything, not necessarily what we talked about.
Oh, I think it was still on the AI. Just that what you're seeing now with all the talking to robots. What that's actually a strategy they don't want you to talk to a human being. And that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Who's they?
More and more layers, and there are companies that have no human beings. The whole thing's a robot.
Like who? Who's like that?
Trying to get help on, say, something like I've heard my neighbors complain about it. I don't do Facebook, but Facebook, it's almost impossible, to get any live help.
Well, that's true.
Yep, that is true.
And okay, go on.
I was going to say, are you done with your final thought, Herb?
Yeah, that's good enough.
Okay. Rick, any final thoughts?
Yeah, start getting used to the idea of dating robots, because that's probably the next thing that'll happen. And I've noticed that a whole lot of replacements going on along those lines, and it's not going to change anytime soon because it's being automated, and that's going to change everything real fast, because who needs to go to the dance when the dance will come to you?
Well put.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just want to know, when the robots make us pets, will there be treats, and will they walk us every night? Will they take us to a human park where we can romp and play and chase balls and frisbees?
That's
It depends
gonna,
on,
Yeah.
it depends on if the robots are supplied with prostates.
When the robots start plotting your death because they're so bored of you.
That's right. They put you down.
They put you down because they just realize the more intelligent they get, the more they start to despise you.
Yeah, the dumber we get.
Yep, exactly.
Andy, what's your final
Yeah.
thoughts?
Well, I think that the main thing, you can use any technology either for good, or you can use it for detriment. It can become addictive and can become destructive. Like, opium can be a great painkiller and useful, but now we have a nation of opioid addicts who are dying of their painkillers. And I think that technology is another one of our painkillers. And I'm worried that we become so addicted and so dependent on it, we're going to lose our ability to yell at each other in traffic. We will lose our humanity. We'll lose our emotions, our sexuality, our spirituality, our political awareness. I'm worried that the empathy is going to drop to nothing.
So AI is going to completely eliminate road rage.
Well, at least when you have road rage, you can take it out in the moment. What I'm worried about is when people get really dissatisfied, as Herb was pointing out, you end up with fascism. You end up with this very collective, angry group of people. Well, kind of like you saw with the so-called insurrection at the Capitol.
Right.
Likes fine diet soda.
Nice.
That's the value too.
Wait. You diet soda with the Reese's and the popcorn.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a very oxymoronic diet there, Andy.
It is.
Now, if he was talking to us on a treadmill, that would be the trifecta there. If you were on a treadmill having that conversation, that would be killer.
My whole life is
eat what you want, drink what you want, as long as you're burning the calories on a Nordic track.
That's right. Exactly.
That's funny.
Kimbo got in his Nordic
my final thought for tonight.
There you go.
My final thought for tonight is to go to tippingcomedians.com and tip comedians. There's 3 comedians on the drop-down menu you might want to take note of. One of them is Kimbro. You scroll down a little bit further, you'll see one that says PodBrother. And you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see one that says Ref Kimbro. Oh, all 3 of those are me. So, go on tippingcomedians.com and tip some comics. I don't care who, just do it. And you're going to make some people very, very happy. Now, I must give you a disclaimer that 80% of that tip goes to the comedian, 20% goes to the PNN Academy, which is the logo behind me. And we do comedy workshops. and we have scholarships for those who don't have the money to take the workshop. So we'll use some of that 20% to cover some of those folks who want to learn how to be funny. And so that's my final thought for today, final thought for the show. I want to thank you guys for coming down and hanging with me. I'm here right now at the Arc Cyber Theater in North Hollywood. And this is a very cool spot, and I'm interested and excited to see where, this bad boy is gonna go. We've done some cool stuff, and we've got some cool stuff on the horizon. And thanks a lot, guys, for hanging with me here at the LinkedIn StreamYard. This is being streamed out to all 8 of my platforms, including the Arc Cyber Theater Facebook page. And so if you want to see this entire show in its entirety on a replay, you can go to any one of those social media platforms and check that out.
I think the robots will watch it over and over again.
Over and over.
Till they learn it.
Yeah.
And can replace you.
Maybe we already are robots.
Cyber PodBrother.
The PodBrother could never be replaced. I'll create my own resistance. So yeah, tomorrow night here at the Cyber Arc Theater is Judy Chinchado's comedy show. I'm going to be headlining that show. And Herb, you're going to be taping it, right?
Yep.
All right. For those of you who are in the neighborhood, if not, make that 8-hour drive to come down and check us out.
That's right. And you can see Eavesdropper, LA's longest running play, select Fridays and Saturday nights at the Arc Theater. Just visit arccybertheater.com and find out when. Or just show up. Something's going to happen. Always something doing at the Arc.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you on the flip-flop. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
See ya.